Hi guys, I'm Jenny. Welcome to my channel where we focus on using ordinary materials to make beautiful things. Today we are making this tray. Well, it actually took a couple of days, but you'll see later in the video why. I am reshooting the beginning because when I went to edit the video, the beginning where I showed you what the tray looked like before I started was gone. So I'm not sure if I didn't turn on the camera, if I deleted it somewhere. Somewhere in there, user error occurred, and so now I am going to try to talk you through a little bit about what's happening. So I use paper trays, cardboard trays like this one that's a packaging box on my table when I am working. So I use one to gather trash in so that I can keep it all in one spot and it's easy to pick the tray up and go throw it away. Then I have one that I gather things that I am no longer using, things that need to be put away. So if I have brought out, 4 or 5 images to try out on a page and I've chosen one and the other 4 need to be put back away, they go in this tray, and that way I keep it all in one place and I know I can just take my tray over to my stash and put things back where they belong. So I use these trays to help keep me organized, and usually they look like this one, which is just packaging. Paint came in this. You can see just some acrylic paint came in this one. This one was a cat food tray. So it was a flat with cans of cat food in it. So I started with a tray that looked like this one that was just cardboard, and I covered it with book pages to begin. And that's the part I lost. So the rest of the video, starting from here, you will see this tray starting with the book pages covering, and I'll talk about the book pages and why I chose what I did and how I got them to look the way I did. So I just wanted to back up and give you a quick little introduction. We're doing trash to treasure, something from, packaging, cardboard packaging from a tray, to something that's cute and fun that you're gonna, like looking at on your table or desk. So I'll be right back with this tray covered in book page and ready to go. See you in a minute. Okay, I'm back. I have covered my box with paper. It's still a little damp, but I want to go ahead and talk about what I might do to it next. I do want to talk about the glue I used. Mod Podge would be fine. There are all kinds of glue. You could use some PVA glue with a little bit of water just to thin it out just a little bit. Just remember, however, if you use a lot of water, something really wet, and your cardboard, it's going to take a little while to dry, which is what's happening with mine. It's still a little damp. This glue is pretty wet, so I'm going to need to leave it to dry for quite a while before I do too much to it. And you can see I need to go back and kind of, as it dries, you need to maybe check a little bit, make sure that you've gotten glue under all the edges. So you can see I've got like just a little edge there I need to stick down. But you can go back just, as it dries, just periodically check it. So I used this universal wallpaper and border adhesive. This is what I use for collage and for decoupaging things because it is far less expensive than a lot of other glues. You get 32 ounces. This was like $8 at the hardware store. So I got it at Home Depot or Lowe's, I'm not sure which. But any place like that should have it. This is an older container. I have a newer container. When it gets low, I just buy a new one so I have it. But I do want to show you, I have colored my glue just a little bit. So I added just a little bit of kind of a tanny beige color to the glue. Now the glue is usually clear, it dries clear, but if you add a little color to it, it's gonna add some patina to your paper. So I chose the paper that I used on this because it was already kind of a creamy beigey color, and I didn't want bright white. But you can see, I'm gonna put it down here in the box. You can see with the color that I added to the glue, how it made it just a little darker, a little more patinaed. So if you have a book that has bright white pages, but you don't want them to be bright white, you want them to be more beige, just add a little bit of paint to your glue. And then when you put it on, the glue itself, of course, will dry clear, but the paint will tint it a little bit. So it's going to dull it down. So you can see there's a good deal more patina here than there is here, even though this was already a creamy color to start with. It was not bright white to begin with. Do I have something bright white? Let's see. At the back of this napkin. So this is bright white. So you can see it's very beige next to the white, but then after I added the color to it, it was even more patinaed. So you can do that, and you can change the color. Like if you wanted it to be kind of a more pinky color, if you were doing something in that color, and you wanted a tray in pinks or purples or something, you could add a little bit of paint to your glue to give it that just a slight patina to begin with. So you can manipulate the glue in that way. So any glue you have, you can do that too. Just use a little bit of acrylic paint, and dull it down, or you can make it. You could use brown, tan, beige. I think I used a little bit of leftover gold on mine because I had just a tiny bit left in a bottle, and I just wanted to use it up. So any of that would be fine. Any color would be fine. Just stir it in and kind of take a look at it. If you're not sure, put it on a piece of white paper and swatch it and hit it with your heat tool or blow dryer and dry it to see how much it's going to patina it. So you can always check before you start using it if you want to add a little more, a little less color. The other thing you can do is you can go through and dry brush some color on, which I'm probably going to do, but I need it to be good and dry first. So I just want to talk about what the next step is that I'm contemplating, and then I'll come back and show you what I've done. So I want something in the bottom here, and I have to decide what it is. And I have quite a few choices. So I have some pattern pieces that would look really good, and patterns come in a variation of beige colors. Oops, looks like I got a little bit of glue on there. So I could use something. This is, this one is fairly innocuous, but if I put it down, I could, I'd still be able to see the writing underneath. Wouldn't really be able to read it, which is fine. I don't really want to read it. I just want to see. Okay, so I could do something like that. There are darker patterns, and I have one here that's a little bit darker. So this one is about, choosing the right plaid when you're sewing something with plaid in it. Must have gotten a little bit of glue on there. So you could put that down. So that would be a little more something that you would see more, right? There's more of that to see, and you could put down this part. If you were going to use this in a sewing room, something like this would be really great. Like if you wanted to put it on your desk or table in a sewing room to, catch pins and thread and things like that, toss your scissors in, that would be a great use of that. You could use any kind of tissue paper. So I have this really cute rainbow kind of, pale rainbow kind of paper, which would be really cute. Now I'm not undoing it. I guess I could do one here so you could see. So you'd still be able to see the writing through it. So this is just the wrapping paper that you would use, the tissue wrapping paper. The tissue you would use to wrap presents in. So something like that. Any color, any pattern, right? To that end, napkins would work really well. So these napkins are kind of the same beigey background, which would be nice because you wouldn't have to fussy cut a lot of stuff. But they also have like white on one edge, so there's only one edge that's available on this. But you could use, 3 napkins side by side and just, put them. You could even, this kind of has a little edge to it, so I might put one in the middle and then put the end ones over it. Maybe something like that, so you don't see that line in the middle. So you could use napkins and have a really nice floral background. And so these are going to show through. Once they're one ply, you're going to be able to see the writing through them. Here's another napkin. This one is a different size. This is more of a dinner napkin. Those are cocktail napkins. So if you have something that's this size, depending on how big your tray is, of course. So I would want to maybe cut this down a little bit, but that would make a really nice little tray inside. Especially if I was doing something for somebody who maybe loves Paris or something like that, or a desk set. Like, I think this kind of thing where the trays and stuff, they're so versatile. You can use them on a desk, you can use them in a craft room, you can use them as I do, which is kind of just like to throw things in that I'm gonna pick up and put away later. This is my put it away tray, so when I'm looking at images. So after I'm done with this kind of video, I might throw all these napkins into the tray so that I know I need to put those away. I have lots of napkins to choose from, which would be fun. So you could do something Halloween if you wanted to do, any holiday, right? There's Halloween. You could do this and then just put one more napkin here. So I think that would be fun. You could do seasonal with fall or spring. I have some fall napkins. I have spring with flowers and birds, which would be super cute. I have an Easter one with bunnies on it. And I have some that are with shells with the ocean, right? So I haven't really decided which one that I want to use yet. I just wanted to show you kind of the choices I'm weighing. So once I choose what's going to go on the bottom here, then I might choose a focal image. And then after that, I'm probably going to do some embellishments, and then I'm going to put some clear coat things over it to hold it all in place. So that's kind of where we're going. I have just done the whole thing, sides, right? And I don't really see a whole lot of point in doing anything to the outside of it. If I were going to put it on my desk, I might do that, but since this is really just a tray for my table to, throw scraps in that I need to put away, or things that I'm not going to use anymore, that kind of stuff. When I'm weighing images, I usually have like 6 or 7 images, and I pick one, and then I put the rest of them in the tray to be put away. So I will probably not be doing anything to the outside of my tray. You certainly could, though. I might dry brush some color on it, just so it's picks up all of the wrinkles and edges, and that would make it kind of interesting, I think. So I might do that before I put something in the middle, but I'll need to choose what I'm gonna put in the middle first so I know what color to dry brush with. So once this is dry and I have chosen, I'll come back and show you how that looks. Okay, so I'll be back soon. Okay, the tray seems pretty dry, so I am ready to do a little dry brushing on it. I think I'm gonna go with the ocean themed napkins that I showed you. And I'm gonna use this kind of turquoise paint as a dry brush, as long as my cat decides to cooperate. She's just being a little pill today. Hop down, sweetie. So when you dry brush, it's just the way it sounds. You want just the tiniest little bit of paint, because it's not really about putting a lot of paint on. It's just about maybe picking up the wrinkles and the edges and things like that. So I am just gonna put a little bit of paint on this. Just a tiniest little bit. Sorry, give me a second here. All right, sweetie, you're gonna have to go out. Come on. Okay, I apologize. Crafting with cats is not always the best idea. So you can see I just have the tiniest little bit of paint on here. You can always add more, but it's hard to take it away. So you can see as I'm adding it, it's barely giving a blue tint, and it's picking up the edges of the paper, which is what I want. I just want to give those edges a little bit. And I'm going to put that napkin over it. So I don't need a lot of color. I just want to see where things were pasted on top of each other. So try to go against the grain where you've got that. You can see this is a very, very dry brush. So, I mean, I've just got the tiniest amount of color. But you can see it's sticking to the wrinkles and the edges of the page. So you can just kind of see where I've glued things together. Oops, see, I got a little much there maybe. I mean, the napkin will go over that, so it won't be too bad, but you can see that's what happens when you pick up too much. I had a blob of paint on there and didn't realize it. You know, so you can kind of work it out. It is acrylic paint, so it is water soluble. If you need to put a damp rag on it, that one's dry. But remember that it's paper underneath, so if you get it too wet, it's gonna, you know, start dissolving the paper if you rub too hard. So, okay, so this is gonna take a few minutes, and then when I'm done with this, I am going to glue that napkin down. And then I will see you, because I'm going to do the inside and the entire outside. So this is going to have to sit and dry once I do the bottom. It's going to need to be good and dry before we move on. So I will be back when this is done. Okay, I'm back. You can see that I have finished dry brushing everything with the blue, and I have put the napkins on, and they're pretty dry. It feels, I should let it cure overnight, but I'm impatient. So I figure in the next step, I'm going to have to let that sit overnight. So, you know, I'll just let it all dry at once. And the cat approves, apparently. So, yep. Hop down, kid. Come on. Come on. I know. I'll hold you in a little while. Come here. There you go. So I put the napkins down, and I really like the way it looks. But I do want to put some kind of focal image in the middle. And I dug through my stash, and I found this mermaid paper doll that I made a while back. It's been a couple months, I think. And she's really too big. Come on, kid. She's really too big for most of the journal pages. The journals I have aren't really large enough to contain her. But I think she looks really good here. The cat is really being annoying today. She's cute, but she's annoying. So I also want to put in some of these little gems. Now, these are really tiny. I got these in kind of a grab bag from Goodwill. And so they're really tiny little bright blue gems. And I thought they would look pretty just kind of scattered around. But I want to make sure that this is sealed really well in the bottom. So I want to put a good deal of glue down and coat it. So I'm thinking, I dug through my glue, and I found a couple different kinds that I think would probably be okay. I was hoping that I had some polyacrylic left, which is a sealer that you can put on furniture or projects. I used it on a decoupage project where I did a whole kind of rolling cart thing for my job when I was moving from room to room. And it held up pretty well. And I thought I had some left, but I don't. So that's okay. We'll use what we have, which is really what we're about. So I dug around and I found this, which says glue for glittering. This came from the dollar store. It says it has a brush inside and that it dries clear. I have used it before, and it did dry very, very clear with jewels and things on it. So I think that's going to be okay. I also found this, which is a clear, Elmer's clear glue that goes on clear, so you can see, and then it's dries clear as well. So my thought was I would start with pretty much dumping this whole thing into the tray, and then putting my person down, and then putting my jewels down, and letting it dry and seeing if I need to put another coat. And then once it's dry, if I need to put another coat on top, if too much of it's sticking up out of the glue, then I'm going to try this one over the top of it, because I figure once it's dry, it's probably okay. I wouldn't mix them while they're wet. And this, you know, this is an experiment, so it may not work. I don't know, but I'm going to try. So I figure, you know, the worst that'll happen is I'm out a couple of napkins and a cardboard tray. It's not the end of the world. But I do want to kind of embed the things that I am putting down. So I think it's a little more than just spreading glue. I really want them to be kind of embedded in the glue. So I'm going to pop that upside down and grab a brush. I have these little chip brushes that came also from Dollar Tree. They come in a whole set or whole package of them. Oops, looks like it's got some clumps in it. It's not good. I wonder if I should have watered that down. Oh well, hindsight's 20/20. I suppose I could add a little water now, but I really want it to be good and thick to embed everything in. So that's kind of the idea, is that it would be a really thick coat, and since it dries clear, it should be okay. The napkins and stuff should be sealed underneath. So I'm going to try it and see. I'm a little annoyed at these little clumps that are popping up here. I was telling about the chip brushes. The chip brushes, you can buy a package of them at like the dollar store, and they're good for, you know, for glue and things like that. I wouldn't want to paint with them because they're just not precise enough for that, but certainly they are a good choice for glue and things, you know. And if you get polyurethane or something on it and ruin it, then oh, I'm pushing too hard on my napkin over here. Okay. This is why I should maybe have watered it down a little bit. Let's get a spray bottle. And I know it's kind of scary because it's all white, but it does dry clear, and I have tried it on other things and it dried really clear. So I'm not concerned about the drying. It may take some time. May have to really, you know, let it dry for a couple of days because it's going to be such a thick coat. But I think it'll be okay. Especially if I don't press too hard like I did over in the corner. Oh, there we go. I am a little concerned about how many, you know, little clumps there are in there though. That's a little annoying. here. Just add a little more water. Add a little water into the mix here and just get the last of it out. That didn't really mix, did it? It just was wet. Okay. Oh, I didn't really think this through, but sometimes that happens. So we'll see what happens. I mean, the worst that happens is, like I said, we're out a couple of napkins and a cardboard box. It's not anything of great price or value, so you know, we not too long ago were watching a TV show called Julia. It's about Julia Child, and I think one of the things that I always really admire, or admired, I guess now she's passed, about Julia Child is that she didn't let mistakes stop her. If something went wrong, she went with it, she fixed it, and you know, that was just it. It's like you just moved on. I mean, it's just how it goes. You know, things happen, things aren't perfect, and you know, you do the best you can with what you have. So, and I always just admired that about Julia Child, and she always made things seem so accessible. You know, if it looked complicated, you know, she would be like, no, it's not that complicated. You know, there are steps to it. Just break it down step by step and try it. You know, what's the worst that could happen is it doesn't turn out quite right, and that's okay, because next time it will, and you learn something along the way. Okay, so really, this is what I wanted. I wanted a really thick layer because I want to kind of submerge everything into this. So I want it, you know, like really stuck down into this. Because that's really, really after that. And I think it's not really going to submerge totally, though it might. because I just want it to kind of become one with the background. I don't want anything popping up. I want it to be completely submerged. So as I'm pressing this down, glue is coming out from under it. We can use that to go over the top of it. Because I really want it totally submerged in there. And it really looks like it's a mess, but I'm hoping that when it dries, it won't be. And the truth is, if it's too much of a mess, you guys will never even see it. So I say that laughingly. If it's a little bit of a mess, it's possible I will still show you so that you don't make the same mistakes I do. But if it's a total failure, then I'll just start over and try again. And you'll see that. And I'll tell you that I'm trying again because I failed the first time. But again, that's okay. And I want her completely, pretty much just completely submerged into that glue. Okay, so my thought is, if this isn't enough to totally cover, then once it's completely dry, I'll go back with this this clear glue and put another coat over the top to see if we can even it all out and cover everything. So that's the idea. And we'll see how it works. So I do see I've got some air bubbles. Now I'm going to try to put some of these little beads in. I think I should probably get some tweezers to do that. Which I really don't have tweezers, but I do have some long handled little pliers here, and so I'm just going to kind of place them around. Push them down. Well, that may not be any better. Might be easier just to drop them in and then flip them over. These are just so tiny. I never get them out to use them because they are just way so small. So, and generally I don't do well with things that are this small. A, because I always have glue on my hands and they stick. and B, because they're just so small, they're just almost impossible to handle. So, see, I just drug that one through the glue. Okay. I really need to buy some tweezers, I think. Okay, I'll try just dropping it and flipping it maybe. Not done a very good job getting an even coat of glue, it doesn't appear. But again, I think I can even that out after it's completely dry. I just kind of want little jewels and the ocean out around her. Like the sunlight is sparkling around her. And when I tried the glue with the jewels, I did try it on a separate piece, and they were totally covered in glue. And then when the glue dried, you could still see the jewels. They were still real shiny and pretty. So I'm not concerned, you know, that they have glue on them or they're kind of submerged, because I think once they're good and dry, it will be fine. Okay. Where else? Just kind of maybe drop a couple here. Okay. I think that's pretty good. All right, now I think this is probably gonna have to sit for a minimum of 24 hours. I'm guessing closer to 48 because of the thickness of the glue. But I will be back when it's dry to show you how it looks, and we'll decide whether or not to put, you know, another clear coat over the top just to seal everything down. So I'll see you tomorrow or the next day maybe. Hi guys, I'm back. Back crafting with cats. It's been a couple of days. I set this outside to dry And it has dried pretty well, actually. It's a little shiny, so I'm going to kind of tip it a little bit to maybe get, except I've got a kitty cat who wants to play with it, to try to get some of the light to maybe not glare on it so much. Hopefully you can see it without the glare. There are a few wrinkles because it is paper, but I think it turned out pretty well. The only thing that is above the, like there's a good solid bottom to it now. The only thing that's above is where the fold is here because it's folded back on itself. So this was double thick and it's kind of sticking up a little bit. So I'm contemplating whether or not to put that other glue on there. But I wanted you to see how it looked because I think it turned out pretty well. It is, like I said, a little shiny, so the light is kind of glaring on it a little bit. But you can definitely see all the little jewels there popping up around, and I really like that. So I think this is a cute little tray, and I'm pretty happy with it. I just need to decide whether to put another coat of glue over it to try to embed this the rest of the way. It was a fun experiment. If I had to do it again, I wouldn't put anything as thick as this double in there, and I probably would have maybe put a thin coat of glue and then put everything down and then poured something else over it. I think if I had polyacrylic, which I have used before, I think that might have done a better job, but I didn't have any, so I just used the glue I had. I figure, what's the worst that can happen? It was a little cardboard tray. The cat food came in that was going to go in the recycle bin. So the worst that can happen is I don't like it and I put it in the recycle bin. But I do like it. I think it's cute. I think it's much cuter than the little tray I was using, which is just another piece of little cardboard tray that was packaging. So I like that. I think it's cute with the blue paint, and covered all around with the book pages. So I think it's a cute little addition to my art room. I might try a different one with some polyacrylic on that other little packaging one that I have, that other little cardboard tray. But it's definitely worth playing with. So I really love the napkins in the background, and I love her. She's just a little thick, like right through here. So anyway, so that's kind of the end of this experiment, and I really hope I'm going to try to kind of move it a little bit so the light maybe isn't glaring so much and you can see those little jewels sparkling. I don't know if you guys can see them or not on the camera, but boy, you can see them here. So that's super fun. But it was fun. It was worth a shot. I hope you'll try upcycling something into a tray for your desk or your art room. Or just a cabinet somewhere, maybe where you toss your mail. It would be cute for that. So until next time, I hope you have a great day. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. I always appreciate those. Thank you to those of you who subscribe. And if you're thinking about subscribing, hit that button and we'll see what else we can make. Remember, use what you have to make your life more beautiful. Bye.